Drop that music.
Alright, so I just got done recording the commentary for the episode review for Persona 5, episode 16, and I fucked up a little bit. I'm not gonna go into detail what happened. Just understand that I fucked up and I did something that I am really upset at myself for doing, but regardless, I want to apologize at the beginning of the video and say that my Persona 5 videos have lately been coming out like almost an entire week late, and I want to apologize, especially for this one, because it's over the past couple of days, I haven't been feeling myself. I've been dealing with a couple of real-life personal issues. Excuse me, I can make an entirely separate video if you're genuinely curious of how I've been feeling for the past couple of days, but regardless, we're here to talk about Persona 5. And Persona 5 continues, episode 16 actually. Episode 16 continues off where we left last week, which was Makoto and An screaming, not Makoto and An, Makoto and Futaba screaming at each other. Makoto and Futaba are screaming at each other because they freaked each other out, I guess, because it's dark, the power's out, you can't really see anything. Futaba screams at Makoto, and then she runs up the stairs, it's kind of funny. I don't know why I found it so funny. So, of course, everyone else hears this bullshit. They're like, oh, was that Futaba? What happened? Sojiro hears this bullshit outside. He's like, who's in my fucking house? And Makoto's just like there on the floor, and she's crying, and she's scared, and I feel bad. Sojiro walks into the fucking house. He flashes a fucking flashlight at Ren, and he's like, oh, you son of a bitch. So they do their opening, which, you know, is neat and all. So they apologize for kind of breaking into his fucking house because, you know, that's kind of messed up, isn't it? Ren asks, is Futaba his daughter? And then he goes into the backstory with Futaba and, you know, her backstory and why she's there in the house and who she actually is. And basically Futaba is the adopted daughter of Sojiro, and she's the daughter of an old acquaintance of his, and her name's like Ishiki Wakaba, I think that's what her name is. But you know, she goes into a little bit of backstory with, you know, Futaba's mother and how she was a carefree person, somewhat stern, a little social inept, you know, smart-witted, but whenever she was, you know, interested in something, she would always focus on that bullshit, right? She'd focus on it, and then, you know, she put all her, you know, I don't know why I'm repeating myself. She put her focus in it, and then she'd stay up like all night working on it. So yeah, smart-witted, all that bullshit. But Sojiro and her, they got along together. And then obviously Futaba was born, and the father was never in the picture. But she did everything for her. She did everything for her child, and she'd do, you know, what any other mother would do. Except one day she left. Ren asked, she left, like, question mark, like, what does that mean? And that's because she died. She killed herself. It was suicide. He says suicide, and everyone's shocked, obviously. They couldn't believe that it happened. Couldn't believe it, right? Completely shocked. Right in front of Futaba as well. Futaba is a young little girl. She watched her mom just throw herself into the streets, and she got run over by a car and she died. Very sad thing. Very emotional thing. And of course, because Futaba was just a young girl, it's messed up. So Sojiro took custody. Futaba locked herself in her room for a little while, severely depressed because she just watched her mother die, but she slowly opened up a little bit and she started talking to him a little bit more. Then, as of recent, she started hearing some voices. She heard voices and shit, and then she was able to see her mom somehow, even though she's dead. And then she locked herself back in her room, but became like a complete shut-in. Like she would put up signs saying like, "Oh, don't answer," yada yada, whatever, right? Whatever, right? So she locked herself in. She locked herself in. And she just didn't do anything else. She'd just do whatever she would in her room and nothing else. And time progresses on a little bit further. They finally figure out that Futaba and Alibaba are the exact same person. They're both the exact same person. They figure out that Futaba actually has a palace, so they're getting ready to go inside of her palace, but they need a couple extra information. So they need like a name, a place, and how the person sees that place as. And Futaba sees her room, because she's a shut-in, remember? She sees her room as a tomb, and she's gonna die in there. She's saying she's going to die inside of her room and nothing else. So it's a tomb. So a tomb, like a pyramid, like an Egyptian tomb, they go inside the metaverse, and they're standing there in the middle of the fucking hot, burning desert. And then they make their way towards a pyramid. They walk in, and inside it's actually very cool. Like, it has air conditioning, AC, and that's because of Futaba's cognition, and how Futaba sees her, her whole tomb in her pyramid. It's because inside of it is, like her room. She's inside, a typical home, and it's got AC and stuff, and et cetera, right? They have a little bit of a fan service moment, which I feel like at this point is it's kind of annoying. I feel like they're doing it a little bit too often, and I'm just like, yeah, that's cool and all, but like, can you like pull it back a little bit? Like, I like My Hero Academia does that sometimes, but even then, it's like they pace it out to where it's like, oh yeah, fan service, oh that's cool, and then Persona 5 is just like, yeah, we're gonna throw fan service every single episode. I'm like, oh cool, whatever. So because they were outside in a burning hot desert, of course they were sweating a lot, especially the girls, and they're wearing white t-shirts and they're sweating, and their shirts get soaked, right, because of their sweat. They go inside where it's cool, and of course they they dry up a little bit, and then their shirts, they basically fucking get all wet. It's a wet t-shirt, it's a wet shirt, and they can see through it, and they can see their fucking bra and their fucking boobs and shit, and it's just like, ah, cool. But immediately in the next shot, you don't even see through it anymore. The inconsistency is unbelievable, but regardless, the episode continues on. They meet Futaba's shadow. Inside of the palace, they actually hear a whole bunch of voices of, what Futaba has heard in her lifetime. Excuse me. I don't know what happened there. Basically, people are calling her, creepy, and that she's a murderer, and that she killed her and stuff like that. But it was kind of vague. And if Futaba's shadow, and eventually starts saying like, oh, I killed my mother and stuff. And so her entire life, she's starting to say herself, or she's been saying to herself, that she killed her mother, and it's her fault that this happened, right? And that it's all her fault, and she is to blame for. But realistically, she's just hiding from the truth, and she's not accepting what the truth actually is. Futaba didn't do anything. Because later on in the series, it will be explained what actually happened to Futaba's mom, and how she actually died. She still died by getting ran over by a car, but it wasn't suicide. That's all I'll say it is. So I've been talking a lot, so I gotta breathe a little bit. I'm sorry. So the episode continues on. They're trying to go through the palace. They go through the palace, right? And the pyramid and the tomb, right? They see a whole bunch of like Egyptian like paintings of Futaba and her life, and they see one picture that shows like a whole bunch of like adult like people, right? And they're talking to Futaba, and they're reading a note, and it's a suicide note from her mother saying that, oh, Futaba caused a lot of stress for her life, and she was just tired of it, so she killed herself. And since then, Futaba has been blaming herself for what happened. There's another one where it's literally her mom jumping in front of a car and killing herself, and Futaba's on the ground. She's crying and she's upset, right? So dark and fucked up, I know, but sometimes a series is just gonna have its dark moments, So sorry, I can't really do anything about it. But then there's another one where Futaba's a young little girl, and she's trying to get her attention from her mom, because when you're a kid, you always want attention from your parent, and you'll do anything for that attention. And then her mom is like yelling at her, and she's trying to do like paperwork and stuff. She's doing stuff, and that has to involve like cognitive psyche. I think that's the word and I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not entirely sure. Correct me in the comments if you'd like. I really don't care. But pay attention to that. Remember that because that's very important later on in the series. I don't know when it will come up again, but just remember it if you can. So the episode continues on. They get through the palace, and then they finally need to open the door and have Futaba open up. So essentially, what they need to do in reality is open Futaba's, door inside of Sojiro's house, so they can open up a door to be able to continue on through the palace even more than they already have. So they can steal Futaba's treasure, and have her make a change of heart. But so they go there. Futaba's like saying some stuff. They're trying to get her to open the door. She unlocks the door, and then they finally get her to open the door. But then she's hiding in the closet because she's still trying to hide from reality, right? They finally get her to open a closet. She walks out. She does a weird little fucking pose and shit. I can't obviously show you. I'm not going to even if I wanted to. But she does a weird little pose. It's kind of weird. She's like telling them like, "Oh, do whatever you gotta do. Steal my heart. Yada yada." She screams, and then it like cuts to the end credits. So I'm just like, God damn it! Now I gotta wait for Saturday to roll around, which is in a couple of days. So we're getting the episode pretty quickly. But regardless, that's pretty much just where the episode ends. We're gonna continue on this Saturday with the next episode. I hope you guys did enjoy the episode because regardless of like its dark themes, I enjoyed it still because it made me think about a couple of stuff. Because weirdly enough, I think I said it already in the beginning of the video. I don't remember, but this episode kind of hit home a little bit to me for some reason. Probably because of like some of the stuff that happened with like Futaba and her backstory. It's been a little bit since I actually played the game, so I don't really remember what happened. So, regarding the stuff that has been happening to me the past couple of days, let me know in the comments if you want me to talk about that in another video. I might do it anyways, but just out of curiosity, leave a comment if you want to see me talk about it. But regardless, I'm gonna end the video here. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.
Drop that